So these are my notes on the pizza oven that I want to build. I started out here with just a couple designs, and I'm not really going to talk about those. But later on, after I figured a bunch of things out, I went ahead and started looking at how I would build it. And this is what I was thinking about doing. First, I would take 4 2x4s here. I'm going to line them out on 4 sheets of plywood and just add them to the outside to make a kind of a box. The next thing that I would need is what we're going to look at down here in the corner. And what that is you're going to have a hair dryer here, and it's going to blow cold air into the pipe and up, and that will give air to the fire. And then if some of the coals do fall down, we don't want that clogging that, so there would be a pipe to go out here, and there would be end caps on both of those in case we're not using that. And so the idea here is you'd have a 45-degree angle just so that the debris can come out pretty easily, and then 20-degree angle just because we don't want anything going up, but we don't really want a 45 because that would make it a little inconvenient when we're trying to get it into our actual box. So then we're going to position the air duct, and then we're going to fill it with dirt. And dirt is just a cheap material, it makes it really strong. And then after you have all the dirt on top, you would lay cement bricks, of course leaving this air hole up through the top, and the air dryer would be on the sides here to blow the air in. And then what you do is you just get some 2x4s and build your little pizza oven first layer. And then you can kind of see here that you have two 2x4s starting at the hole, kind of going this way, and the whole idea is that you leave a pathway for the air. When we get the air going up, we're going to kind of burn it out this way, and the idea is that all the wood would burn away and leaving you with just what we put on the outside. So after you finish the wood layers, you would still kind of have there would be a gap for the chimney up here at the top, and you would leave the entrance hollow, and it would go all the way back to that spot where we're going to start the fire. And then at the top you would add two 2x4s for the chimney, and ideally what they're saying is that you want about a 6-inch gap between, or 6-inch diameter for your chimney. So with the length of the 2x4s, we want about a 1.24-inch gap. So I mean, but whatever you get is pretty good there, about 6 inches. So then we would drill the hole, we would add those 2x4s, and we would drill a hole and insert the flue. And the flue is just going to be like basically about a 6-inch stainless steel sheet, and then with a rod going through and the two little bearings on either side, and then a rotation handle that would show you which way it's pointing up, and you would rotate the flue. When this point is pointing up and down, you have all of the air going through, whereas when it's side to side, then it lets, or when it's flat, it would trap all of the air in there. And so there's just a rod with some a rod slash handle, and then all washers or bearings on the side, and those would not go in the wood, they would go on the outer layer with the mud. So the next thing I do is the paper mache the oven, because the wood's going to be all rough, so paper mache gives them a nice smooth material for the wood to sit on. What we would do is we just take water, flour, and paper, mix the water and the flour together to get a mache paste, and then the paper, you put it in there and you paste the paper all over, and you let it dry, and it would kind of go from this wet material to a little drier material. And then what you would do is you would add the mud and the rain cap, and we are also supposed to have inserted the flue, but we would also want to insert the washers here to make sure the flue goes with the mud that would rotate on that. So, and then what we would do is to make the mud, you want to do straw and dirt together and water, and it's kind of important to have the straw there because that gives it some of its structural integrity. If you just do dirt, I've heard it doesn't work as well, so just any straw, any dirt in your place, it should be fine. And then mix it all together. When it dries out, it should be pretty good. So then we're going to just fire it dry. So we're going to do blue, start the fire back in at the place where the air comes up. And this is just cold air, it doesn't supply anything. But what you would do is probably stick a hot coal in there from a different fire, would probably be easiest, and that would blow on it and get it really hot. This whole thing should be made out of wood, so it should burn pretty easy. And the idea is you would have a little tunnel going out, and the heat would go straight up the vent, and it would just burn everything away in the inside. And then after that, you're firing it dry. You notice it's a dark color up here. I think it would be a lighter color when you see it dry. Not that drastic, but not that drastic, but it would change a little bit of color. And then after it is dry and you have the whole fire basically done, you would stucco it, and this would just be for the weatherproofing. Was one of the things I had to figure out. I was thinking about doing roof tiling and stuff like that, but I think stucco would just basically keep it all weatherproofed. So then some of the optional features you see here is you could do a door with windows or door without a window. If you're doing a window, I think I would just take a Pyrex bowl and kind of flip it so that the bottom was facing out. And then you'd be able to see through the fire while it's closed. And then if not, you would just have this regular door, and I think it would just be one of those doors you just push in. It wouldn't have hinges or anything. And then you would just make this as you make the other thing. The other thing that would also be good to add here perhaps is a fire thermostat, a temperature reading like a grill thermostat. You can buy them for like $11 at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And then the other thing would be to use a storage compartment. In the early steps, we made this box here, and it was just a full solid dirt. That's not really a great use of storage. So what we could do is then put these boxes on here and hollow this compartment out, as you see with these dotted lines here, and then have these open up. And that would be something that you would just do as regular carpentry, and then put the dirt on top or whatnot. And that is my idea for a pizza oven.